All right, today we're jumping into an absolute classic, Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And in the next few minutes, we're going to distill the core wisdom of this truly game-changing book. So let me start by asking you a really important question. Think about your day-to-day life. Are you just busy, or are you actually effective? You know, it's so easy to fill our days with stuff to do, but Covey argues that real, true success comes from something much, much deeper. See, for Covey, effectiveness isn't about the latest productivity hack or a new app. Nope. He calls it a character ethic. It means building your life on a solid foundation of principles that don't change, so that what you do every day actually lines up with who you want to be. And he lays out this journey for us in 3 clear stages. First up is the private victory, which is all about mastering yourself. After that comes the public victory, which focuses on how you work with other people. And finally, there's renewal, the habit that keeps the whole system running. Okay, so let's start at the beginning with the private victory. This is where it all begins, because true effectiveness starts from the inside out. You have to master yourself before you can even think about leading or collaborating with others. This brings us right to habit 1, be proactive. And honestly, the difference really comes down to language. Reactive people say things like, I can't, or I have to. They're always blaming their circumstances. Proactive people, on the other hand, focus on what they can influence. They take ownership, and their language sounds like I can, or I will choose to. Covey tells this incredibly powerful story of Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, who realized that between what happens to you, the stimulus, and your reaction to it, there is a space. And in that tiny space lies your freedom and your power to choose your response. That right there is the very essence of being proactive. Now for a really powerful thought experiment that introduces habit 2, begin with the end in mind. And I'm serious, take a second and really think about this. If you were at your own funeral today, what would you want people to say about you? About who you were, what you stood for? This question just cuts right to your core values. Because here's the thing. Every great achievement is created twice. First, it's created as a mental blueprint, and then it's created as a physical reality. Habit 2 is all about you being the architect, intentionally designing that blueprint for your own life before you start building. We've all been there, haven't we? A totally frantic day, a to-do list a mile long, but at the end of it all, you just feel like you've been spinning your wheels. Well, that common frustration is exactly what habit 3, put first things first, is designed to solve for good. Covey's metaphor for this is just brilliant. Think of your time as a big empty jar. Your big rocks are your most important priorities, your non-negotiables. You have to put those in the jar first. Then all the smaller, more urgent tasks, the emails, the little errands, that's all just sand and pebbles that you can pour in afterwards to fill the gaps. Okay, so once you've achieved that private victory, you are ready for the public victory. This is where we make the shift from just me to we, where you learn how to win with other people. And that brings us to habit 4. Think win-win. So much of life is framed as a zero-sum game, right? A win-lose mindset sees success as a competition. But the win-win mindset flips that on its head. It seeks mutual benefit, operating from the belief that there's plenty of success to go around for everybody. This quote, well, it's pretty much the entirety of Habit 5, and it is one of the most profound principles for how we interact with each other. Before we can ever hope to offer solutions or even be heard ourselves, we have to first stop and truly listen. And let's be totally honest, this is a trap that we all fall into. We're so busy formulating our response in our head while the other person is still talking. Effective people fight that urge. They practice empathetic listening, where they're genuinely trying to see the world from the other person's point of view. So when you combine that win-win attitude with empathetic listening, you create habit 6, Synergize. This is that magic where 1 + 1 = 3 or more. It's the beauty of creative cooperation, where brand new, better solutions emerge that no one could have possibly come up with on their own. Now, mastering ourselves and winning with others isn't the finish line. The final habit is actually the one that makes all the other habits possible. It's a deep commitment to continuous growth. This is habit 7, Sharpen the Saw. And Covey identified 4 key areas of our lives that need constant renewal. You've got your physical health, your mental learning, your emotional connections, and your spiritual core. If you neglect any one of them, trust me, the others are going to suffer. I mean, think about a woodcutter who's just too busy cutting down trees to stop and sharpen his saw. He's going to become less and less effective pretty quickly. It's the same for us. Taking time for rest, learning, and connection isn't a luxury. It is an absolute necessity if you want to be effective for the long haul. So, how do we actually build these incredible principles into our lives? Well, Covey provides a really simple framework for turning these ideas into automatic habits. You see, a habit is formed where three things intersect. First, you need the knowledge. That's understanding what to do and why you're doing it. Then you need the skill, knowing how to actually do it. And maybe most importantly, you have to have the desire. You have to want to do it. When all three of those things are present, a habit is born. So let's just recap the whole journey. It's a really clear progression. First, you master yourself with habits 1, 2, and 3. Then you build effective collaborative relationships with habits 4, 5, and 6. And you sustain all of it by continuously improving with habit 7. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. If your life is the single most important project you will ever work on, are you taking the time to design the blueprint? Are you truly, honestly beginning with the end